Good afternoon. My name is Stacie Wood, and I serve as a Public Information Officer here in the Emergency Operations Center. Today's date is November 25th, 2020. As promised, we are here to provide an update on new COVID-19 activity at the local level. This community update is available in Spanish on the Buncombe County Health and Human Services Facebook page at BCHHS. And all of our community updates can be found on the Buncombe County YouTube channel or on Facebook at Buncombe.gov. Today's updates will be provided by Stacie Saunders, Buncombe County Public Health Director, Esther Manheimer, Mayor of Asheville, Brownie Newman, Board Chair, Buncombe County Commissioners, and Fletcher Tove of Public Health Preparedness. And we'll go ahead and get started with an update from Stacie Saunders.
Thank you for joining us today for this very important message. Today, I want to start off by expressing my gratitude and appreciation to my fellow public health warriors and our dedicated community partners. I want to thank you for the long hours, often the weekend hours, as you have called new cases, performed contact tracing, organized testing events, administered flu vaccine, provided shelter to those in need, found ways to feed people, provided care to those who are sick, worked on getting messages out to our community, and continued to provide much needed services in a careful and thoughtful way. Thank each and every one of you for those hours that you have given, and thank you to your families and your loved ones who have supported you as we have dedicated our time to the pandemic. Our nation and our state continue to experience high rates of COVID-19 infection. We as a nation have surpassed 12.6 million cases since the pandemic began. We are adding well over 100,000 cases each day to our national total, and we have lost over 250,000 Americans related to COVID-19. Our state is not faring any better. We as a state have over 346,000 confirmed cases since identifying our first North Carolina case. Since prior day, we have added over 4,100 new cases to our state totals. And sadly, 5,138 of our fellow North Carolinians have died related to COVID-19. That is an unfortunate and sad benchmark that we wish we had never met. Our percent positivity as a state has increased over time and is now 7.3%. Our indicators here in our own community have also turned. After seeing some stability a couple weeks ago, Buncombe County has now identified 5,375 confirmed cases of COVID-19. We are consistently adding 60 new cases per day on average, with several recent days adding 70 or more new cases. We have now experienced 125 deaths related to COVID. Each one of those is a neighbor, a person who has lived here with us. Our key metrics have moved into unfavorable areas. Our new cases per 100,000 population per week has increased almost 20% from 111 just a week ago to 142 this week. Our percent positivity, while still below 5%, has significantly increased over time. Back in September, we were seeing percent positivity around 3%, and now our percent positivity is 4.8%. These metrics indicate increased viral transmission here in our own community. In order to reduce our risk and flatten this curve, we must remember the simple and effective precautions of wearing a mask, keeping 6 feet apart, and washing our hands often. We must limit our interactions. Each encounter with someone outside of our household is an opportunity for spread. This means even when we gather with our families and our friends, when we interact at work, and when we visit businesses and other establishments in our community. We have to remember that committing to these simple measures protects us, protects our families, our friends, our churches, our schools, our economy, and our community. Please rethink your holiday this year. I know what I'm asking you to do is really hard, but it is necessary. Please limit your holiday gatherings to only those in your household. Share fellowship with your extended family and friends in other ways. If you partake in a holiday get-together, keep it small. Limit the number of people you invite. Keep it outdoors if possible. Even with your friends and families, keep 6 feet apart and wear masks. Executive Order 180 provides more clear language and reinforces our statewide mask mandate. If you are indoors with people outside of your household, you must wear a mask regardless of distance. If you are outdoors and cannot maintain 6 feet of distance, you need to wear a mask. This means every day, every time, and even at our holiday get-togethers. We are aware of events where social distancing and mask wearing are not consistently enforced by event sponsors. To be clear, events where individuals are not following guidance on wearing a mask, keeping 6 feet apart, and other precautions, and where event sponsors are not enforcing those precautions, this provides an environment for high risk of spread. This puts those participants at risk and puts our community at risk. Supporting our economy during the pandemic depends on the commitment of businesses, establishments, and each other to follow the executive orders. The new executive order and North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services recommendations also empower local jurisdictions to act local action based on local risk. We've been consistently monitoring our indicators. County and city leadership, public health officials, and others have considered these unsettling trends and are today making recommendations to fit our local needs. With us today, we have Mayor of Asheville, Esther Manheimer, and Buncombe County Commissioner Chair Brownie Newman to discuss local actions. In closing, please have a safe holiday. Remember the 3 W's. Remember to limit your interactions. Do it for you, do it for those you love, do it for our community. And now I welcome the mayor to the podium.
Thank you. As we head into the holidays, I know we're all used to gathering with friends and family, but this year will be different. In recent weeks, the number of COVID cases has continued to rise, and the number of COVID-associated hospitalizations has been at a record high across the state. Therefore, the governor and local governments, including Asheville and Buncombe County, are implementing stricter COVID-related measures. The enhanced local restrictions in the declaration we are signing today empowers the community and businesses to ensure Governor Cooper's face covering mandate is followed. It requires face coverings to be worn indoors anytime a person is in the presence of others not in their household, and outdoors where it is not possible to maintain proper social distancing. This mandate continues to apply to all businesses and industries with indoor areas, including City of Asheville buildings. Mandatory face covering requirements have proven to reduce the number of cases of COVID. Studies show that wearing a mask is the best tool we have to slow the spread of COVID. While our first wish is to educate the public, those individuals and businesses who are not complying will be subject to penalties. All buildings are required to post the maximum occupancy at every entrance. Those businesses found to be over the occupancy limitations may be fined and subjected to temporary closures. These measures may seem too strict to some and too loose to others, but the governor and our local governments are trying to impose restrictions that have been proven scientifically to protect all individuals in our community from the spread of COVID. Another way to think of this is that wearing a face covering is a sign of kindness and support towards those around us. In addition, as a part of Governor Cooper's latest executive order, the The City of Asheville's transit system will require all riders to wear face coverings while riding buses or if you're on transit properties. Before, riders could not be prevented from riding if they failed to wear a mask, but now that is no longer the case. Those not wearing a mask may be denied entry. For those individuals who do not have a face mask, masks will be provided on all buses and at the transit center. Please choose to celebrate this Thanksgiving safely. Consider virtual or outdoor celebrations and limiting the guest list. Remain vigilant about the 3 W's. Wear a face covering, maintaining social distance, and wash your hands regularly. I know these are not ideal situations, but taking these steps now may help to prevent the need for further reclosures and other further restrictions in the future. Visit BuncombeReady.org for the most up-to-date COVID-19 information. And happy Thanksgiving. And now, Chairman Brownie Newman.
Good afternoon. My name is Brownie Newman. I serve as chair of the Buncombe County Commission. I'd like to acknowledge Sheriff Quentin Miller and Commissioner Jasmine Beach Ferrara, who are also with us today, along with other city and county staff. Along with the mayor of Asheville and in partnership with the leaders of most of the municipalities of Buncombe County, we will today issue an updated local order to strengthen enforcement of COVID-19 policies that have been enacted by the state of North Carolina and the county. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, the people of Buncombe County have done a good job in taking responsibility for their actions to limit the spread of COVID-19 by practicing social distancing and wearing masks or face coverings. This has resulted in Buncombe County consistently having one of the lowest rates of COVID-19 of any of the metropolitan counties in North Carolina, and a lower rate than most other cities and counties across the country. In spite of these good efforts, COVID-19 numbers are rising in Buncombe County. The number of people who are becoming so seriously ill from COVID-19 that they require hospitalization is also increasing. Although the vast majority of residents and businesses in our community have taken responsibility and have respected public health policies to reduce the spread of COVID-19, not all have. The local orders being issued today are focused on strengthening the enforcement of limits on mass gatherings in commercial facilities and requirements for companies to ensure their employees wear face masks and coverings. To date, municipal and county officials have relied primarily on public education and issuance of warnings to promote business compliance with our public health policies. Going forward, Asheville and Buncombe County will issue penalties for businesses who violate COVID public health requirements and mask requirements for their employees. Businesses that fail to enforce limits on mass gatherings and mask requirements for their employees will face civil penalties, and if they become repeat offenders, the city or county will order the businesses to be closed for a period of time. It is not fair to all of the residents and businesses in our community that have worked hard to keep their employees and customers safe, to have other businesses ignore health and safety requirements and therefore accelerate the spread of COVID-19. It is vitally urgent that we reduce the spread of COVID-19 so that in the early part of 2021, we can more fully reopen our schools. We can only do that if we continue to reduce the spread of COVID. If you become aware of a business that is violating state COVID policies in Buncombe County, you can contact 828-419-0095 or email ready@buncombecounty.org to report it. I'm now going to sign the local order on behalf of Buncombe County. And also sign it subsequently. Thank you. I would now like to invite Fletcher Tove to outline more of the details of the policies being enacted today.
Good afternoon. My name is Fletcher Tove. I am the Buncombe County Public Health Emergency Preparedness Director. As mentioned, Governor Cooper's Executive Order number 180 goes into effect today at 5 p.m. and will remain in effect until December 11th. The overall intent of this executive order is to increase the use of face coverings in all settings. This achieves this by adding additional circumstances in which people must wear a face covering, both indoors and outdoors, and by authorizing law enforcement to bring citations against individuals in addition to business owners. The key changes we see with this Order 180 are: face coverings will now be required in all public indoor settings, regardless of the distance from others. Face coverings continue to be required in public outdoor settings if individuals are unable to maintain 6 feet of social distance with non-household members. In indoor gyms and indoor fitness facilities, face coverings are now required for everyone, regardless of the level of exertion. Retail business locations, or any business with more than 15,000 square feet of interior space, must have a worker at each entrance open to the public who is responsible for enforcing the executive orders, particularly face covering compliance and the emergency maximum occupancy requirements. And on public transportation, customers may be denied entry if they refuse to wear a face covering. In addition to the governor's executive order, Buncombe County and the city of Asheville have come together to sign a new local emergency declaration. This declaration amends a few aspects of the governor's guidance. First, it requires all businesses in Buncombe County, regardless of their industry or business sector, to post both their maximum emergency occupancy as defined through the executive orders, and the requirement for wearing face coverings conspicuously at every entrance to their business. This can be any signage, but there are resources available at buncombeready.org if you follow the coronavirus public health materials for local business link. Second, this local declaration amends subsection 3.8B1 of Executive Order 169. This gave guidance for meetings and event spaces. The amendment makes it clear that any event or space using this guidance must be a seated event, There cannot be standing events or socializing or cocktail hours or other social aspects of that nature. This new local declaration also makes allowance and instructs designated county and city employees to issue civil and criminal citations for violations of these orders. To aid in these new enforcement measures, we will be reforming the multi-agency task force, which saw success in ensuring restaurants were in compliance with the executive orders. Once again, this task force will consist of public health officials, sheriff's deputies, Asheville Police Department, and the city and county fire departments and fire marshals. This task force will be primarily complaint-driven, but will also proactively monitor local business for compliance. The key factors this task force will be assessing are businesses meeting the signage requirements, following mask compliance, following their capacity limitations, having greeters at the storefront for any business over 15,000 square feet, and maintaining compliance with the 6 feet of physical distancing. The first violation of these requirements will result in a civil or possibly criminal citation. If a business is found to be in violation a second time, they will be closed on the spot for a period of 24 hours. Additional violations will result in extended periods of closure. Reports of violations can be sent to ready@buncombecounty.org. That's READY @buncombecounty.org. Or they can be called into the Ready team at 828-419-0095. Shifting topics, I want to address the Maui Invitational Basketball Tournament that's scheduled to begin next week. Buncombe County Public Health has been working closely with the Sports Commission during their entire planning process to ensure a safe event. We are following the latest guidance from the CDC and have enacted rigorous safety standards for this tournament. The event-specific health plan was crafted under our guidance and has been approved by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services and will follow all of the governor's executive order guidance. The tournament will operate under the same bubble concept that was so successful for the NBA this year. There will be no spectators allowed at the games, and all players, coaching staff, and team personnel will be routinely tested, socially distanced, masked, and essentially quarantined for the duration of the tournament. In closing, I wish everyone the best during this unique Thanksgiving and encourage everyone to make decisions understanding the potential impacts on your families and your communities as we work to enjoy this holiday responsibly. As always, let's be safe, let's be smart, and let's take this step by step. Thank you.
In closing, we will continue to provide information to our community as updates are available. We appreciate your attention and concern and assistance during these unprecedented times. And I'm thankful to live in a community that cares for each other and does the right thing, even if it's hard. So let's keep up the spirit of helping throughout the holidays and do our best. For information on COVID-19 in Buncombe County, you can visit www.buncombeready.org. Thank you and stay safe.